Okay. Any questions from last week, like maintain notifications, maintain path, stage, task settings, email notifications? Any questions or anything? You just do quick recap. So maintain paths first for any type of request type. We need to create path. So even sometimes we will create production and non-production systems. If we want to perform operations from GRC production system to all the systems, development, quality, and the production, we will create separate path. There is a different kind of stages based on the request type. Also, we will create auto provisioning failure and SOD routing. And in case any specialty of roles based on the criticality, severity, we will route for the approvals. For that also we will create paths. Also, for each path we will create rule result. Based on the rule result, the initiator will work and it will identify the path and execute the number of stages and complete the request. For that also we created, we just check the stages, how stages created and the sequence of numbers. Automatically it will added 10 numbers by default. In between, in case any number changes in the workflow, then we will add the between numbers. By default, SAP will provide 10 numbers, but it is not mandatory we will continue with the same number, but we will change the sequence number if we want. Also, in the stage, we have a two major, sorry, okay, first we'll go with this. In the path, we will add the agents, respective agents for the stages, and also we have some settings like approval, any kind of approval or all approval based on our necessity. Then also we will route in case of any special conditions, we will route for the original path and bypass the original path and move to path. Also, in case of any escalation for a particular stage, we can keep escalation time, escalation to specific agent, and it is basically in minutes, so we will convert it into number of minutes, days into minutes, maybe 3 days, 5 days. Based on that, we will keep escalation. And the agent ID will be, sorry, the agent ID will be determined based on settings. If it is manager, then it is coming from data source or any of the, not only LDAP, we have a different data sources. But in case of any other agent which needs to be specified, that is coming from third stage. Maintain agents. That we have four types: direct mapped users, PFCG roles, PFCG user groups, custom API rules. In the same stages, we have modified task settings and notification settings. Two things will be available. Also, we have a add, modify or delete in case any modifications are required. For notification settings, we'll have determine the scope of the complete work for a particular stage, either approval, reject, or in case of any audit compliance requirements, in case of any dynamic changes which is required. Based on that, we will set some settings. And also, in case the particular stage, any risk analysis kind of a requirements, we can perform risk. If we are ready with the risk analysis and mitigation concept, we have option approved despite of risk is available, so that we can bypass the risk. We'll just perform the risk analysis, but without mitigation, we can bypass the risk for temporarily. Also, we have a notification settings. So this notification settings based on the event, we will trigger the notification to respect to recipients. New work item, forward, delete, or rejected. I think approved is not here. Submitted or closed, that is coming under global, but rest of the other events we can trigger from the stage notification set. And also we have seen based on the template ID, we will design our own formats and we will keep the template ID instead of standard GRAC. We will whatever the custom template IDs we will maintain in the notification settings so that the notifications will trigger to approval. But we will discuss more on detail for the troubleshooting in case if approver doesn't receive any email notifications. Make sure that we have to check the template ID and approver has email ID and whether it is triggered in a SCOT or SCOT settings are appropriate. We have some validations that we'll discuss in the troubleshooting, but make sure that the basic configuration is we have to maintain the notification event in the stage. That is what we discussed. So now moving on to stage number 6, that is maintain route mapping. Here we have two kinds of maintain rules majorly. One is initiator rule, the workflow path related. Second one is detour path or routing path related rule result values we will maintain in the route mapping. If we consider in case of any issues we will face in Msmp, this is the primary area where we need to look whether our configuration is appropriate or not. Why? Because in the earlier stages, we will create agents, path, stages, and everything, the respective steps. But in the maintain routing, we have to map the paths with the rule result value. Suppose if it is a sandbox, might be sandbox rule result and sandbox path. So here is an example, firefighter, SPM. So SPM rule result, then SPM path. But the path consists of number of stages. Each path has a different request type, map, and each path ID will map to rule result value. So that it will verifies the rule result value first, then it will identifies the path, then it will execute the number of stages which is mapped in the path. That the complete configuration steps or execution steps of a workflow will perform in the sixth stage based on the sixth stage configuration. No, 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 that no, no, that will discuss Monday. So I don't want to. If I will go touch anything, then I need to go for BRFS. I'm just giving overview what it contains. That is the reason I have prepared this slide. I'm coming to that point. General route mapping, general request. The standard GRAC AR initiator, rule result is a default rule result, and path. It was maintained. Okay. So for anything a standard configuration, the path is like this. But here I have created a dummy path, but everything it starts with the GRAC. I'll show in the, we will show in the system. But when it comes to the routing rule, it starts with the routing path and routing default rule result. But whereas in the path and what stage it needs to route and path it has to go. That's from path and to path. We have to mention in the routing rule. It's a very simple, but the key is a stage number. Just a minute. Suppose in the this is a normal path consists of 0101, 002, 003. But if you want to route for a particular stage, manager, role owner, or any security, any stage, then we have to keep the stage sequence number 0001 from the normal GRAC path to 001 is the stage number, and the additional path like SOD path, we will keep the SOD path. Like this, the stage sequence number will maintain or plays a key role. Yesterday, we have seen the um, this routing enabled. Based on the stage sequence, we will route enable. That details we will maintain in the maintain route map. I will show in the system so that we'll get better idea. This is a standard GRS initiator default path. This is the standard. So for any request type in the standard, we will the request will be executed in this path only. So the path consists of number of stages, only manager stage. So now first we'll execute the path. Whenever we execute the path, it will check the ruled result and it will identify the path, and manager, once the manager approved, the request will be completed. Uh, till that clear? Mhm, mhm, mhm. Yes. Mhm. Yes. See, whatever the process ID we have selected, all the configuration, it will be respected to the process ID. Yes. 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 Yeah, yeah, no issues. So this is a standard path and we have created. Okay. Now, in general, the routing path. No, before going to routing path, is there any issues? Is there any questions here? Standard path. Mhm. Okay. No, no. The standard value will be there for each process ID is different. This is access request only. Yes, yes. Okay. Now to see the difference, what is a routing rule? I'm just adding additional path. Okay, so that we'll understand how to create the path, how to create the stages, and how to use the routing. So everything will be covered now. Yes. So I'm creating new path. Just will click add and will create the path. Now, if we want to create any stages, we have to select that path. Then down, click on add. Scroll down, click on add. Then again scroll down. We have to give the path sequence, maybe 100. So there are some standard IDs. If you want, you can create a custom also. I'm taking standard. This is a Spotify. So I'll create maybe security team will perform the SOD. We just give the description. So since it is a standard, then automatically it will pick up. And here we want to escalate. We'll discuss later escalation, but no escalation. So save. So I have created a new stage with respect to the dashboard. So as soon as I have performed some modifications, I have to come and I'm not transferring, transporting any objects. I'm just saving. So here in the default stage, okay, default manager stage. I have to modify because I have to keep routing right. So this is a standard agent. Anyone up to? I'll tell you. This is the standard default. We have to keep map the first agent ID. I have not selected this one. Okay. If I have selected, then automatically it will pick up. Only by default, values always needs to be mapped. So as soon as the routing enabled, automatically the standard routing rules will be available. So I'm just selecting second one, SOD violation check. So the routing stage level. We have a stage level and line item level. We cannot keep line item level because if we submitted 3 roles, then each role it will check if one role is there, then it will go to next level. If it is stage level means this particular stage, any of the role means the combining and it will transfer to next stage. The line item level we can track, it is very difficult for the mitigation. So always best practice is a stage level. So SOD violation stage level. Now click on modified task settings. Routing enabled. We have to keep both stage level and task settings level. Both we have to keep the routing rule. Okay, I have selected the routing from manager. I have created SOD. Mhm, mhm, mhm. Okay. Yeah. Yes, yes. Now let me. Okay. Now maintain route mapping. GRSC initiator, default rule result, default path. We have not changed anything in the standard path, right? What we have done is, in case of any SODs, we have to bypass the original path and move to SOD path, right? For that, click on add. So again, the rule ID is SOD violation, right? Since it is a standard, again, the standard rule result value will be displayed from path. Now we have to select default because default path is our original path, and stage sequence number manager has 001 is the stage sequence. Two path is SOD, right? This is our original path. The SOD violation, SOD rule result, the same standard. From path is the default path. From stage is the first stage 001. Path ZSOD. Just now we have created. So whatever the path name, ZSOD. So this is how we are setting in the routing rule. So I'm just saving first. Now our configuration is completed. So I'm just activating. So finished, new version generated. Since we have done a majority of changes in the task and workflow, so new version will be generated. Version 29. Okay, okay, okay. I'm coming to that. How this scenario will work will come to that. Okay. To explain the scenario, what we have configured. Okay. First, the new request, right? What will happen? As soon as the user request submitted, this will comes to manager stage. Now, this manager will perform risk analysis. Okay, RA is mandatory. So risk analysis is mandatory. As soon as the request submitted, request comes to manager. If manager has performed risk analysis, if risk exists, then it will go to SOD path. ZSOD. Okay. Risk exists, ZSOD path. If there is no risks, then request will be closed, approved, and roles will be assigned. Did you get it? Request submitted, it comes to manager. If manager risk analysis is mandatory, if risk exists, then it will comes to SOD path. If there is no risk, request will be closed. That is what we have configured. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. The problem with GRC default path, like a default request, if we go with it, we cannot. Um, okay, I will execute the flow, but I will execute the complete scenario. I will re-explain when we are doing BRFs. Okay. As of now, I will explain, but you cannot find the difference for a default path because if I submit 001 request create, it will goes to default path. If I submit change request, it will go to default path and it will take only default rule result. Okay. The standard MSMP, you cannot find the difference, the execution of flow. But I will explain on a high level, but will discuss the same scenario in BRF plus session again. Definitely, you will see the difference. Okay. Mm-hmm. Hmm. See, you are all thinking general configuration in GRC in the customer systems. Okay. Hello, Adraj. Okay. That is the reason I am saying you cannot find the difference in this system. Okay. Probably we have to execute at least one or three or four scenarios with normal workflow. Then we'll go for actual BRF plus condition. That is what the plan. To answer your question, in the customer space, generally this path won't exist. There is some BRF plus ID here, create path, change path. It's the same BRF plus, like this. Like this. This is the rule ID, BRF plus, for a specific condition. That is what Manpreet said before. So for each path, we have to go system wise or any special condition that will not work in the standard MSN, because everything in the default path, the 001 request, create, change, all the request IDs which are belongs to the process MSMP process accessory. Okay. The GRC request path, the GRC rule result value, and initiate. Everything will be inbuilt mechanism with the standard. If I submit the create request, it will goes to manager only as per this configuration. If I submit change request, it will goes to manager only. If I submit firefighter request, it will goes to standard manager only. Okay. This is where the problem, the standard MSMP cannot use in customer space because it will not satisfy our basic need. Meaning, create request, it has to go to, in general I'm talking, manager, role owner, SOD. But whereas a firefighter request, the firefighter owner has to approve. But in the standard scenario, manager will approve any request as per this configuration I'm talking. If you want to increase more number of stages, even firefighter, the same execution flow will have to perform in the standard path. Ideally, this will not work. Firefighter access is emergency need to fix the issues in the production system. But if we go with three stages or two stages or manager, if suppose okay, only one stage, manager approves, then which is not correct. This is audit compliance issue. And again, this scenario will not satisfy our requirement in the customer space. To avoid all these issues, we will go for BRF plus MSMP. That is many to many condition. Because my inputs are many. Create request separate requirement, change request separate requirement, firefighter request separate requirement, lock request separate requirement, cutover request separate requirement, approval flow. So it's a kind of a big table. decision table. This is the input. This is my output. Number of stages is 1, number of stages is 2, number of stages is 3. Like this, our requirement. Based on that, we will configure in Msmp with BRF class. Are you getting me? But we'll execute couple of scenarios, at least 3 to 4 scenarios with the basic. Then you can understand the drawbacks which I have explained now. The drawbacks in the standard MSMP. Then we'll do extensively in BRF case. There are different scenarios will trigger. Like you said, business process. Based on the business process, we can trigger the POP. We can trigger, but the problem is as soon as it increases the number of input values, the flow will increase and maintenance of workflow will be issued. But we can do if it is take a company standard business process is 12. Okay, so for 12 business process, if you want to create a condition, what you will do for 0001 request type. Let me open it. So it will extensively go to number of conditions. Maybe Excel will give you the same details will be in the system. So request type. This is my input. Okay. As of now. So Alt T. Now one example rule result value and path. This is how, not exactly, but this is how your request will execute in the execution flow. Now 001 is the create request. So create, your rule result value is default rule result. Default rule result, right? Default rule result. And okay, I'll go with the same names. Oh, this is outside. So what are the changes? So the default rule result will consist all the path: create, change, delete, firefighter, everything. It will consist the details. Okay, based on the rule result, the path will identify in general condition. With the standard, what it will happen, everything will be inbuilt logic and it will maps to default path. So if it is a request type 2, change account. In the standard practice, this will not change. If it is 006 firefighter, I'm just giving example, this will not change in the standard practice. Any request you can take. If you want to request types, okay, we are always talking about request types, right? So I will show. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. I'm going. So this is general access request. And the request types, this is the description. This is what we are talking about. So 006 is the firefighter, new account, change account. Okay, so that we are on in the same page. You may have doubt how this request numbers will come to here. Okay, now, yeah, we have activated a busy set. No? We have activated a busy set. Yeah, it is by default by system. GRC BC set only it will give. No, we can create our own. See, this is created now. See, by default, I'm not going for any customization. First, you have to understand the standard configuration, right? We can create, if you want, we can for any custom. Now, what is your question? Mhm. Okay, by default, might be it is 20, 21, I guess. Okay, no, no, one minute. See, by default, it would be a 21. Okay, but if you observe the first six only map to access request. Forget about the last below two that is created by custom. Okay, I think 21 is information is also standard. I'm not sure, but till here, if you observe, it has mapped to the process ID. Okay, but for first six, it is a standard. Now the point is in the standard workflow path which we have configured right now, it will, there is no change, there is no difference because the default path, the standard default path, whatever the default rule result value with respect to request, it will execute only the same path and only one stage manager approval. Okay, this is the standard practice. Okay, now Adiraj has asked a question. Is this the same practice for everything? No, because in customer space, generally the requirement is different. Okay, in customer space, this is like this. Your logic should be okay. Now, also, I'm adding one more column so that you will find the difference. Only one stage. Okay, I'm not doing routing rule. Okay, main path stages only one stage. Here, stages New account basically in general two stages, but firefighter only one stage. Okay, to satisfy this kind of a requirement, you are giving multiple values, many conditions, many inputs, many outputs. We need BRF plus configuration. But here, even though it is many, the output would be same, only one. Many to many to one condition. Here, many to many, if you observe. Each path is different for each request. Many conditions. Here, many to one condition. As of now, is it clear why we are going for BRF plus and why we are not achieve the requirement in standard practice? This is very, very important. Yes, yes. No, we cannot. Meaning, routing, you were saying? Routing we can do, routing. But see, the primary approval is only one. So, see, you can do routing for routing within routing, anything. But in the standard path only, there is a possibility only standard path. But our requirement is firefighter has to approve firefighter owner, not SOD, sorry, not manager. So that is where the problem. And manager will approve firefighter request. That is an audit compliance issue. See, manager, whenever he receives a request, he will just approve. He won't do anything. But firefighter owner, he will verify whether it is required or not, how many days it is required. He will validate at least few things. NWBC, this one. This is the standard, not BRF plus. BRF plus will always comes alphanumeric number. Okay. So that you will tell now. What we have discussed here, when the standard, only one process ID will be there. If we are using standard, everything will be standard. Okay, even if you want to customize this default path, only that is possible. But the execution is okay. But when we go for customization, we can do so many things. And if we are doing customize, if we are performing customization in the system, then we will map that process initiator rule. That process initiator by default, we can prepare the decision table like this. Everything, even your customization, anything, one initiator only. That is a thumb rule. But the BRF plus customization, we will feed the values, this values. Okay, this decision table we will feed, meaning in the customization, the input values, the output values, everything we will configure. But in standard, the standard function module will configure. We cannot do. We will just use that standard functionality. Yes, yes, initiator cannot change. Initiator will be only one global initiator. Sorry, initiator rule only one for any process ID. It cannot change. This is a process ID. Similarly, this is process ID. Okay. Sorry, you're asking something? Only one stage. Manager. Manager. If you want, you can add more. No, I have at present we are using only one. You can add many more number of stages. Okay. Okay. To answer your question, this is see the request to type. I have not included another request type. Okay. Suppose say uh, three. Okay. For unlock, do you require manager and role owner approval? Hmm. But uh, here we will do only one thing. There is a difference, right? See, you can add any number of stages, but the execution flow is the same flow only.